should be all set up. Alright, so hello everyone. Welcome back to Factorio. So last we left off, I believe we had just gotten hit by a pretty major biter attack, but we had recovered from that and the artillery range has improved to help prevent that sort of thing in the future. So instead, we are now back to working on science automation, which, I mean, we have red science, we've got green science. Let's see, what's the buttons? Gotta get the hotkeys back in muscle memory after being slightly different from satisfactory. So I believe we just have production science left. I'm pretty sure we'd done utility science. And I think we'd automated those, and those. So in that case, we need... Alright, I just hit a button which is apparently a hotkey, which I didn't mean to do. So we have rails and electric furnaces. So we just need to import rails and electric furnaces and productivity module 1s. So productivity module 1s are the last thing that I need to craft. So let's go in this spot, I guess. This is where it gets slightly annoying that I decided to do the productivity modules all in one giant batch as opposed to having each step individually. Now it saved a huge amount of space and was overall a good decision, but it does mean we're going to have mild problems having to set up an additional thing. So there we go. We've got that all set up. And now we just sit and wait a little bit. And we're gonna have to wait for the what's it called? The foundations or landfill to go in before we can get most of those. So that's gonna take a little while. We also need to fix all of these problems. I know the laser turret is in the way. I want to build over it. There we go. So that's connected back up. That looks correct. And then we're going to have to get this corner fixed as well. So that goes there. That gets dismantled, and that goes back in. And then, let's see here, that has to get dismantled, and that goes back in. Alright, I think that's all set up once the landfill shows up. So, we have most of a square. We're just waiting on that corner, basically. And we're also waiting on some of the train stops to get delivered across, which is fine. That'll happen eventually. Alright, landfill, where are you? Looks like it's all this stuff over there. So that is making its way over now. No big problem. I might want to have a buffer chest for landfill somewhere so that I can have the option of building over all this water if I want to. Let's set that up, actually. So we get a buffer chest down there. And you are going to... I have to get close enough. you are going to request, where is it? It's in this section. Landfill, just like 200 or so. And that should help speed that up in the future for like if we build a square directly north of us, which I think I probably will. It'll just mean that the source of landfill is closer. And also probably for filling this stuff in for usage, which is going to be necessary at some point soon. Although I think I can actually avoid that train stop here because this is just a relatively simple setup. So we need to get a train loader there, and then you get set to green circuit input. And we need a train unloader here. And you get set to red circuit input. We're missing arithmetic combinators, so let's manually craft up a couple of those. I'm honestly surprised that we keep running out. Let's see, what was this attack? This was up here. So this does have artillery armed and ready to go, but I guess it's just not within range. And he's not within automatic range. Let's get rid of this particular biter nest, because that is clearly a potential source of problems and also within range of a fair amount of artillery. There we go. That's that nest gone. Alright, now back here we need to connect that up to power so that all those are powered on. And we have green circuit and red circuits in. Then I guess we are probably going to want trains for these. So you are a green circuit train, and then we can set up a red circuit train as well. There you go, and you get to be red circuit, and there. Alright, so we just have to have always enough trains for the number of stops we have, which is not too bad. Then we get just an easy assembler row in. And I don't think we need that many of these, but I'll set up plenty to make sure. So this is going to make those, and I don't think these can be productivity moduled. And they can't. Alright. So that goes all the way up there. And we just have to put the belts in. Like that. And this one gets a belt in as well. Like that. Alright, so once we get our green and red circuits, we will have our source of tier 1 productivity modules, which can go here. So that's T1 productivity modules. And we can set that, give it a train limit of 1 just to make sure. And we get a train loader here, which, that's the wrong one, isn't it? Yeah, we want this one. and you go in there. And then we have landfill for some of those. Then we just set that up and pop that in. Alright, so now we just have the matter of our green and red circuits to deal with, because they are still not really cooperating. Green circuits are filling up as fast as they can. I mean, that's pretty solid run there. Nothing to complain about. What about this one? This one doesn't have a train stopping at it, which is a bit suspicious. I think that means we need another... Oh no, we have green circuits here already. So that's good. But I do think that we need more trains on the green circuit line in order to keep one filling up at all times at both of the stops. So you can go off, and then having spare trains is fine. Having fewer trains than needed is not fine. Alright, so that's green circuits, and they should be all set up and good to go. So then the question becomes red circuits. These red circuits are producing as fast as they can with a solid supply of everything, it looks like. Got a couple thousand in each of these. And this looks bad just because the train is emptying. So that's fine. The other red circuits over here is also doing just fine. Alright, so I think what we want to do is we want to make these faster. And that's probably going to break our wire supply or something. But that's fine, because we need all the red circuits we can get, and the current supply is not enough. Where was that? It was just directly south of here, past the copper. Oh boy. Here we go. We've got copper plates in this one. Oh no, this is fine, I think. We set this up to deal with that. And yes, we set this up to deal with that issue, obviously, with all of these passive provider chests. And are they all... Okay, now, and we've got plenty of space in them for this last bit. So that's okay. It looked very scary. It's actually fine. Anyways, on we go. Down south to here. So yeah, and this is getting fresh deliveries of copper wire. It's going just fine. Alright, all of these are running. Does this not have belt immunity gear? Oh, I crafted it but didn't... Did I give this guy equipment? I gave it some equipment. There, have belt immunity gear. And have an energy shield, I guess. Alright, no. We don't need 2 belt immunity gears. We only need 1. And then, I think having a battery might be a good idea. I just remembered that I only set this up, like, temporarily because of the last one got destroyed, so this Spidertron isn't fully set up correctly. Alright, so, anyways, what was I thinking? Right, we can get us some beacons in here. And okay, wait, we need to get this correctly because otherwise it's going to break stuff. So we need to remove the outputs for every other thing here. And actually, can we just like... It might be better if we just replace that with like a dummy block, just like an electrical pole or something, so that we can copy paste. Alright, so we take that out, and apparently inventory is full for some of that stuff. Anyways, pop a beacon in, give you speed modules. Now these guys are going literally 5 times as fast as the others. And this isn't going to accidentally output its speed modules because there's a power pole blocking the output. So if I copy paste this and pop it in there. Alright, that works. And then I can just continue doing this there. Alright, so that is functional. So now we can copy paste this entire thing and place it there. And let's see here. I guess one more there. Alright, so now we have a full row of fully attached up, although for some reason that guy hasn't gotten its speed modules yet because they were queued from somewhere far away. But now this should be going like crazy and probably using all of the resources possible. So we're going to need to craft up a couple more beacons so that we can get this done on the other rows. And then we're probably going to have to increase wire output or something like that. Alright, yeah, I don't know why this guy hasn't gotten its modules yet. I also don't know what this is all about. I guess I just copy-pasted a blueprint weirdly here. Alright, that's that. This one still somehow hasn't gotten anything. Surely it must be happening at some point. Did I just see these guys taking... No, they were delivering red circuits from somewhere else to me, and they just didn't quite make it. Alright, we're getting hit hard over here. No defenses lost, but a couple of drones down. And then it all gets built up again. Alright, so that is fine. I think I want to push that further down this sort of area. Like if I can put one in there or something, that should be able to clear out a much bigger area of nests, including potentially these ones, which might be the ones causing problems. Although, how is this still not gotten any? Like, it's been ages. Alright, anyway, let's just ignore that and move on. So we just need to copy paste that row over to here and pop it in. And there's a very real chance that that will have gotten stuff backwards. Actually, yeah, no, that's definitely going to be backwards on all sorts of things. Let's undo that. Alright. This is all just doing normal stuff. Yeah, okay, let's just have it be for this one because it's facing the same direction. Which means that that should work. So those all go in and get placed. There we go. We are missing these again. For some reason, this row specifically just doesn't want to get those placed in. Okay, so then we have all of these. They're cooking along nice and fast. And hopefully that will provide enough of a boost to our red circuit production. And let's see. Has this gotten any red circuits at all? No, it hasn't. We have one waiting in an output, one heading to the other output, and then a bunch waiting for their outputs. Not ideal. Not ideal at all. So is this set to the 122nd thing? It is. All right. Actually, this is so efficient that we're gonna need to upgrade our belts. So upgrade planner. Let's get the belts upgraded. Because we're using so much wire that it's not making it all the way down. So let's fix that. The more machines run, the faster they go. Alright. Let's just wait for all this to get set up. These guys are coming from elsewhere. Apparently that upgrade planner also counts as upgrading regular inserters to fast inserters, which I don't really need to do, but I guess is happening regardless. And here come the waves and waves of belts. So now, hopefully that will be enough. It still looks a bit dicey on the ability to output. Let's see, there's no big bottleneck, is there? Are these... These are all express transport belts. So everything past the splitter is an express transport belt, so that's fine. Now if we're using 100% of everything on both of those rows, then we just need to upgrade this row, and that'll be basically max capacity for this. So let's find... Do I still have some of those? I need a couple more. So let's find this. Now these ones output this way. So we need to take that out, replace it with that, and then replace the machine with that. Fill that up. And now we just do the old copy paster. Alright, no, that didn't work at all. Let me grab those real quick. And then get back in the Spidertron. So, I guess we just didn't copy paste the right side of the inserters. Okay, so we need to give you those again. And then copy paste you for real this time. And place that in. There we go. Then we just need a little bit more. Like that. And I guess we may as well finish this off with one more going there. Alright, so now these are going super fast. And they're probably going to need to be upgraded in order to keep up. So let's just get those in. And hopefully that should be like 100% of the wire usage that we can do here. Which should pretty dramatically increase the output rate of these. So we haven't gotten those 2 rows, but based on the fact that wire is just not getting down there, I don't think that's an issue. We could solve that. We could... Yeah, and let's actually do that, because this will make it a lot more efficient. So, we are going to take this, bring you down this way and over this way, and then connect you back into that. I don't know why this didn't work for whatever reason. There we go. Now that's all connected up. So now we are fully utilizing that, which should get this going even faster. And now it's just a question of, can the wire supply keep up? And I bet the answer is no. But while we have wire reserves, we're going to be pretty crazy on the output of this. Now, is this outputting unevenly? Why is it doing that? Is it just because of the preferential output to the other sides? I think it is. Alright. Getting hit down there again. Alright, so how do I fix this so that it balances across both sides of the belt? Actually, that's might be simple. If we just go like that, so then it works on both sides of the belt for now. But when we get a second one, then the left side of the belt might be underused. So wait, what if I just like do something like that? Is that crazy? Yeah, no, that's definitely not correct. That's definitely not correct. That does nothing more than the single row. But what if I do something like that? And then these come forward like that. Alright, so if I tell you output priority left, no, output priority that one, which is right because it's backwards, and then you are... Wait, no, that's wrong. This one needs to be neutral, I think. And then this one needs to be left. So you need to be neutral. You need to be left. So I think that works. I think now that no matter what, we should be using both sides of the belts evenly, which should hopefully more evenly distribute the outputs and keep this going at full speed longer. Because ultimately what we're trying to do is we're trying to have these all even out equally, so that when the trains come and give deliveries, we can keep all 4 of these running simultaneously and be nice and fast. For now, that is not happening. And we don't have a train on the way. We have 2 waiting at outputs, 1 waiting at a random station, and 2 waiting at just different inputs. So, copper wire. This is going. It's not going as fast as it could be. At least on this side. On this side, though, it looks... I mean, this is as fast as we can fill a train, basically, without doing all sorts of complicated stuff and, like, loading from the other side as well. So that's fine. It can do that. And I actually think this might be another situation where having additional trains might be helpful. So let's just go somewhere, and if we get another train on the copper line, or copper wire. Alright, so now that one can be loading up preemptively. Okay, now this is this working? I feel like this is just slowing it down a bit. Maybe we need all of those belts to be upgraded before we can fully see the effects. Yeah, okay, so now that we have those, we now have 2 full belts coming out here, and it should be evenly distributed either way. So now we have, looks like all of these are running now, and we are producing a whole lot of red circuits. Now, are these productivity modules up here getting any? No, they are not. Which is not surprising, really. But hopefully this will improve things. Alright, so we have these 2 more rows now, and now that the copper supply isn't... Now that the copper wire is making it all the way through, there is good justification for upgrading them. So, if I paste... Let's see, we're going to need more of these. Definitely. So let's craft those up. And then, while those are crafting, we can copy and paste this whole setup. Just the entire row all at once. Pop it in there. Pop it in there. And we're going to need more beacons. But they are in the process of crafting, so hopefully that'll be fine. And let's see, we need 7. We have 7 set to craft. So that should be okay. Although we're going to need a lot in order to upgrade the other batch of these, which is what I ultimately want to be able to head over and do. How are these crafted? Steel plates, copper cables, and both types of circuits. Unsurprising. Alright, this did end up getting its red circuits, which means we have we've got those going. Very nice. So now it's just a matter of finishing this off in a state where I can leave it safely. Alright, plastic is doing weird things now. Is plastic... Plastic and green circuits both just require a lot, though not as much as the wires. Gosh, this manual crafting process is not optimal. And yeah, let's actually just get them set up. So we can just do a quick setup here with where are the assemblers? Well, they're here in this. So we get those, and we get 1, 2, 3, 4 Crester chests. And these are going to be making beacons. And we get steel plates. We get copper wire. We get red circuits and green circuits. Did those in the wrong order, but whatever. And then we get an output to a passive provider chest. Whole thing gets powered on. And good to go. Alright, so that should automatically produce all of the things that we need there. Then we can get those finished up. And this is all functional. Red circuit production is actually almost what I would label as good now for the first time. I mean, we've got plenty of reserves, and we have the trains filling up. So until this drains all of the copper wire or plastic or potentially green circuits, that should be pretty solid. And in the meantime, we've got this going. And how fast is this science production? How many of those modules are we going to need is what I want to know. So if we just get you down and tell you to make science, it's 0.05 per second. So that's not that bad. Like, each one of those then is less than a full assembler of the productivity modules that we just set up. So that should be able to last pretty nicely. Okay, we are taking some damage. Nope, not anymore. It's being repaired. Hopefully the increased artillery range will resolve that problem for us. And this is 0.08 per second, so we're already up at 4. And let's... Okay, first of all, we need to set that, and I would like to have 20 on hand at a time, and then we're going to go over here, set that to like 2 stacks. We don't need that many. So that should be all set. Ooh, don't get hit by a train. And yeah, this at least is getting more than enough copper wire to not be an issue. And now we can just run up north. Gosh, Spidertrons are just the best. Do Spidertrons get improved by pathways? I think they might. It's hard to tell. But we have some productivity modules here. This is not the fastest production line in the world. And let's fix that. Although speed module production is not going great. I assume that that's because this is stuck somehow. Yeah. So this has no recipe, despite the fact that it should be producing speed speed modules. And then this wants to be producing efficiency modules, and then this has no idea what it's doing. Okay. How did this work? You should be... Oh, is it because this isn't... Is it because this doesn't have enough? I don't know. Weird things are going on down there. We're gonna have to unstick that manually, probably. And we might have to just spend some time staring at it again. Try to figure out if we can fix it. And it is just one to the right and then directly south from here. I wonder if Spidertrons get hit by trains. It seems like they can walk over them, but that's while they're stationary. I don't know about moving. Alright, so we're here, and the problem is... Let's see here. Which one of you is responsible for this? So you're not greater than 20, and you weren't previously active. Alright, I think... Let's see here. How do we fix this? Maybe just setting that number down to 10. And then doing the same for all of these. Maybe that'll help. And then this is all messed up. It's got like a billion of them in. But we're still going to set these down to 10. Which hopefully will work. So now we're producing speed modules. But probably not for long. And now we will have swapped over to efficiency modules. So that should ideally get this whole thing running once that batch stops. So that is now going efficiency modules. And that should stay like that for ages because these are producing efficiency modules as well. So that's a thing. And then there's the question of this. So will this unstick when this all happens? Or will it continue to be confused? I think it'll continue to be confused, probably. But at least we are producing efficiency modules, even if it isn't speed modules like I would want it to be. We have our productivity module line over here, which is still functional and keeping those going strong. So I wonder if we just we might want to just give up on all of this. It was a cool idea, but I think it would probably be easier to just have this simply just make speed modules. Because, what are we doing here? We're making efficiency modules. So I guess what I can do is I can hardwire these to make speed modules by just disabling the set recipe automator and then tell them to make speed modules, and then and then the rest of this should just trickle along from that. Yeah, let's just do that. So you get that. You make speed modules. And we do the same thing for all of those. And we're going to make a bunch of efficiency modules in the short term while we drain all of this system out, but then with these going strong, making speed modules, the rest of this should follow. And it'll probably get stuck on these productivity modules here. So let's drain those, and let's drain out those speed modules, just so that we can get a nice clean transition where we just get all of that out, and there we go. So now we just have a clean transition where this is going to eventually drain out of these and then start making speed modules, which it should stay doing forever. Now in the short term we're going to have problems because of a lack of speed modules, which I'm using a lot more of now than I have been in the past. But in the long term this will eventually get sorted out and produce those. And if I do ever want to make efficiency modules, it's not that hard to just flop these back over. Alright, I think at some point in the future I will figure out how to get that sort of system working, but for now I just want functional producer of speed modules. Alright, so this used up all of its red circuits. And is it about to get another delivery? It would be if there weren't a traffic jam. Alright, where is that traffic jam? It's due north. Up we go. Just crawling along. So, you need to be a train limit of 1, first of all. Second of all, that needs to not exist. And this needs to be connected across, although that's not what the problem was. That was just a thing that happened somehow. Alright, so you are waiting there. You're actually about to leave anyways. Not that you can get anywhere because of the traffic jam, right? So you also got part way in. And let's see, it's back there. Away you go. Alright, is there even a signal on this at all? Okay, there are, but I think they're the wrong kind. So you get those. Then we just need... Now that we've fixed what is probably the root cause of all this, now we just need to get the actual trains out. Is that another one of those little things? Yes, it is. Alright, you go away too. Now I need to hop in this train. Set you to manual. And drive you forwards and out of the way. Alright, now you're here. We can go back to automatic mode and have fun with that. Then all of the rest of this can get set up. Sorry about that. And we're all good. Now, okay, here's another unrelated problem, which is that this is not working at all. Crude oil. Where is the crude oil? Output, 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 input, output, input. Alright, so there's a lot of crude oil just filling up, basically. And no lubricant to be had in the meantime. Well, hopefully that will resolve itself shortly. And in the meantime, we can get back up to here, where we did get a red circuit delivery, although a very small one. So these are all either waiting at outputs or waiting at stations to get to the outputs, which is very far from ideal. So our red circuit production, this is the one I turbocharged, and now it's not going at all because of a lack of plastic. Wonderful. Alright, these ones here got messed up. I don't know how. Well, I mean, okay, I know how. I know exactly how. Oh, that was wrong. That was not correct. Whoops. I accidentally put... I keep freaking doing this. Oh, you can do this. That's helpful. Alright, problem solved. I didn't realize that was an option, but apparently it is. Alright, so you have to go like that. And we just have to make sure not to accidentally mess with the, what are these even called? Beacons. Alright. Then we go here. Spin that one around. Spin that one around. Item ingredient shortage. How are you short on wire? Because there's definitely wires right there. There's also somehow a couple of red circuits got on that line. That's probably not an issue. Alright. Oh, I see. You have the wrong thing in your inventory. That's what happened. You also have the wrong thing in your inventory. And thank goodness for the power of drones, otherwise this would really suck. So we need to just go and do this for all of these. Except these ones down here, which seem to mostly be working. Not you. Alright, and now we are apparently short on speed modules. Because, of course, we are. Alright, so... if we... let's see, where even was this? This was here. So we're short on plastic is now the main issue, and we're just burning the last bit of plastic here. And this is all still max efficiency, so we're not being wasteful or anything. Is there more plastic coming? There is, but it's stuck in a traffic jam. Because of course it is. So that is because of that signal there. And this is just the continuation of that traffic jam. So we need to head down there and fix it. It's somewhere along here. I think this is it. So we should be able to unstick this pretty easily. We just have to get this iron ore thing going. So you go manual, drive forwards a little bit, and go automatic. So now you're clear. You're in there. And all the rest of those guys are moving about. And where did I leave my Spidertron? Where did I leave my Spidertron? Ah, how are they so sneaky? Like, they're so big and obvious, and yet I always seem to lose track of them. Alright, so that's another traffic jam sorted with. And we continue to just not have crude oil anywhere. So how are you doing? You are filling up. Alright, I think we just need to have the 2-minute condition on these. Just so that we get crude oil flowing at least sometimes. And then apparently we're going to need even more of it. Alright, science production. Research has actually just completely stopped. It has been stopped for ages. Why is that? Okay, just staring at it, looks like no yellow science. Which we should be bringing in from up here. So why are you not working? You are working. And we've got plenty of it. It's still just kind of slow, though. Alright, that's honestly a little bit surprising. Actually, wait, what is this? Oh, it's blue circuit shortages. Yeah, of course it's going to be blue circuit shortages. Because we have hardly any of those either. And those have green circuit shortages. Somehow, despite the colossal amount of green circuits we're inputting, this is just barely getting most of these going. So I guess that's fine then. If we're using the entire supply of green circuits, then we're not going to be making it go any faster than this, except for adding an additional row, which I suppose we could do. It would be kind of annoying, but we could just like copy paste all of this, set it over there, and then keep it running. Alright, we did eventually get a nice cargo of petroleum gas. And I think I want this to just have better storage. It's like if we just go something like that, then we can drain more of this at a time and have more backlog for this to keep running. Alright, plastic is getting made, which means we should soon be back in business on our red circuits once plastic gets over here. Which it's still working on, obviously. We already have another train waiting at the output now, so that's not an issue. And we've got them waiting at a couple of the other things there. Alright, so this is... That's full of green circuits. This appears to be largely full of copper wire. And this should even out over time, now that we're using them evenly here. So that's a thing. We go over here. This is still running. It's using the coal. It's down to only one set, but that's enough. It's off to get some more. And these are set for every 120 seconds, so we don't have to worry about waiting too long for things to get started up there. As long as our plastic production is sufficient, which I believe it is. Alright, then let's go back up here looking at this science, because this seems to be the bottleneck. And it's somehow has all of these running on blue circuits, despite the fact that there are no blue circuits to be found here. So there's exactly one train with the stop, and it's this one. And it is going to make the delivery every 2 minutes. Alright. I think we just need more blue circuit production because this is not gonna stay running like this for long. This is not a long-term stable situation here. So we need more blue circuits, which hopefully doesn't mean we need more green and red circuits. Hopefully it's enough. Alright, this is spiking back up again. I guess when the circuits were stopped, everything was stopped. Did the red circuits get started back up again? Where are you? How are you so hard to find? Are you up here somewhere? How have I just lost my red circuit production? Where did it go? I'm blind. We have this one, which I know about, but that's the slow one now. Oh, it's this one here. Still exactly 0 plastic. We still have trains filling up, so it should be ready soon. We're going to need so much red circuits in order to make any of the other stuff that we need to be making. Alright, I think we might have just launched another rocket. How much? We have 6,000 white science in here. That's pretty cool. At least that's going along nicely. Then we have... Oh, what else did I want to look at? I wanted to look at our Spidertron stuff, which is up here. We do. We have 3 spare Spidertrons produced. And that's just a random temporary provider chest that I set up there. And it looks like most of our blue circuits are going in here. Now this should stop producing soon because we've produced all the Spidertrons. But now we just have a massive backlog of portable fission reactors. Alright, I need you to get cut off. Just so that you stop doing that. We do not need 20 portable fission reactors. We can have that stop producing with the next one, I guess. And that should save us on some of our blue circuits at least. And then this just continues to go. Now the train isn't here, which makes me think that we might not... We might be shoveling a huge amount of green circuits into this anyways. I mean, each of these machines is 1 per second. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, somewhere up like that. I'm actually surprised that this doesn't make it all the way up. Is there a choke point somewhere? Yeah, I think down there. Upgrade planner. Get all those guys upgrade planned. So that should accelerate this a fair amount, right? From 30 to 45, which is something. It's not much, but it's something. Here come the drones now. And boom. So now these should be getting further in than they otherwise would have been. And obviously they're probably not going to make it all the way up to the top. Although it looks like they might. Yeah, they are making it all the way through. At least that batch did. It seems to be somewhat inconsistent, but it is happening. So even this last machine is now making green circuits. And that is probably quite helpful. And if we can stop draining all of the blue circuits into the drone system, then that would be very, very convenient. So most of them are going up to the Spidertron production line, right? Yeah, so this has 160 some queued in. And this is almost capped. And this and that. I mean, that's just going to take a while to get fixed and go through. In the meantime, we did end up putting beacons on those, but not on the bottom row. Which means marginally weird things for our plastic production, but I think it's fine. Now back over to red circuits. Still no plastic to speak of over here. Although we have them at all of the other inputs, including this one. What is this? This is some weird nonsense. This is our explosive shells, I guess. And that is missing steel. Why are you missing steel? Alright, every time you think you've gotten a handle on things, you find another problem. Steel, why are you working the way you are? Now this looks to largely be using as much iron as we can give it. Although we can improve that quite significantly with the old upgrade planner. So we're going to need to get just like at least all of that central area upgraded. And then once they split off into their own separate things, the slower belts will probably be fine. How's this going? Science is still going at 20-something per minute, which is pretty sad. But at least it's something. And we do have faster belts here, getting our steel hopefully just outputting that little bit quicker. And let me guess, these are set... No, those are set to go every 2 minutes. So that's fine. Now all of this stuff is getting in. Faster belts are making a difference. Although it's sort of hard to tell. It's just absolute pandemonium on what things are getting upgraded and what things aren't. Drones do not tend to work in any particular orderly pattern, so they leave gaps, and even a single gap completely ruins the increased speed of a fast belt, so we have to just wait for them, this basically all to get in. But it looks like enough of it So if we get those in, then that should be able to split better among those two. And let's then also make sure that little bit gets upgraded. And then the rest of this should be fine. So now we are running into a shortage of iron. And there's no train on the way. Okay, now there is a train on the way. Train just left to come here. So we are probably going to need to fix our iron plate production. Also, is that all of the stone we can manage right now? That's kind of sad. Yeah, so we're relying on like this thing for our stone output, and it is very much not holding up. I mean, that's about to go out. This one's doing fine though. So we've got plenty of stone left in this. It's just, you know, concentrated in just a couple of small things. Right, so we did get our resupply of iron. And now that is going through and producing all the steel. So is the iron plates just not producing fast enough, or is it using too much of this? Heckin01, hello. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. We are playing Factorio. We're working on... Well, we're trying to work on getting science set up so that we have a decent rate of production of everything. And in the process, we are getting distracted by 1.5 trillion smaller tasks. So, you know how it is in this game. Alright, so this is getting what looks like plenty of iron ore supplied. And the outputs are pretty decent. It's not incredible, but it's something at least. So we have almost a full blue belt there, and like half-ish of a blue belt here. Yep, all the furnaces are running. So that's the good news. The question is, do I have enough spare iron ore capacity to start making these go even faster? And I think the answer is yes. So let's actually just head over there manually and check this. So the speed modules ended up getting fixed, right? Yes, so this is now producing speed modules. So we should be able to head over there and start throwing in some, what are they called? Beacons? So we can start throwing some beacons in here to get this fast. I still don't know if Spidertrons can get hit by trains. I should probably test that at some point. Alright, for now, let's stare at this for a little bit. So, we need to disable the output. Yeah, I've definitely put a lot of work into this train network, and it probably would have been better for me to build a lot smaller than I ended up doing, but here we are. It's too late now, so we're sticking with it. Alright, so that then makes that go faster. And we need to make sure to overwrite the inserter that outputs so that we don't just put our speed modules onto the belt. I've done that a couple of times. So then we can copy paste this along a bit, and alright, is that good? Having one of those just for one of those seems kind of silly, especially since it's already been hit by the other one. So I think we just leave that as is. And can we fit in this space? No. I don't even remember why that gap exists, but it certainly does exist. Alright, let's just ignore that and just go back to pasting these in. So that, and that. So that will have that going a lot faster. And is that even making a noticeable difference? I don't know if it is. We might be at the point where these are not outputting fast enough. Is that the case? I mean, this one down here seems to be... It's piling up iron plates in here because it can't get them onto the belt. Alright, that is a concern. Okay, so in that case, maybe I can use this. If I get... No, wait, hang on. Let me think. This is just... Okay, this is just not really going to work very well. Because now these bottom ones are output full now. So I haven't really improved anything there. Although I can try to get something happening so that we can just fill the other side of the belt, so we can just have this as a single full belt. Or I could make this 2 belts, maybe. Alright, what if I take you and just like bring you over like that? And then you go up and over there, and I started doing some weird stuff with the belts. Then you go up and in there. So that does work to significantly increase the amount of iron plate throughput. Now we don't currently have a train loading here. Why do we not? Are they all just good? I think it might just be because they're all set up. So if there's a train loading, if all of the trains are either loading somewhere else or are unloading at a station, then I guess that doesn't even need to be upgraded. Yeah, we might be fine here as is. We might be. Alright, in that case, we move on. Alright, I want to test getting hit by a train in a Spidertron. I think it might go directly under me. No, it missed. Took a different corner. Alright. I can go here. Yes, you are immune. That's very good to know. So now we don't have to worry about that. Alright, here's green circuits, and there was a bit of a delay where absolutely nothing was happening. That's not good. Alright, so first of all, can we just make this load a little bit quicker? Because that'll help. And then, in order to get that going even more so, we would need, like, some of you guys set up like that. And okay, I don't think that those extra inserters are necessary because I mean, we have 3 inserters here, so that doesn't really help. Alright, yeah, so that's not really making much of a difference there. But we still do have all of this, so if I can just fit in even one more of these. So if I just like literally copy and paste that, place you in, and you, and you, and you. So now this can load and unload with 4 inserters. If I can get power to all of them, which is a little bit annoying. So that can then load the train marginally faster. Probably, although maybe the belt speed is just limited. Yeah, I think the belt speed is just limited, but that's fine. In that case, how do we solve that? We're just probably going to need more of these, more trains here, so that... Okay, no, we do immediately have another train queued up to go here, so that's fine then. I think this is okay. I do not think we have any problems at the green circuits. I tried to fix some stuff, and I don't really think it worked all that much. The trains load up nice and quick anyways, so we're not going to complain about that. Let's instead work on... What was it that we need to work on? Blue circuits? Okay, we actually have a small blue circuit backlog here, which is having all those run. Now, if we go down to the blue circuit production, it remains hilariously slow, and I think we have the green circuits in order to keep this going. It's going to be a bit close. The red circuits are actually going to be the problem, because they're already low, starting to run out, and there's not even a train directly on the way. Alright, red circuits. Is this one still going fine? This one is still going fine, which means I should be able to copy paste this to the other one. So we copy that, we go over to here. Now I think these are identical copy pastes of each other, aside from the upgrades I've made in the meantime. So if I just do that, then where is that, so I can walk over and help manually? Oh, it's right up here. So if we have all that in, and then we're going to have to do all this upgrading. This should then start going smoothly as well. And a whole bunch of drones emerge all at once to dismantle all the stuff that we don't want. And I hope they did them in the right order, because if they do them in the wrong order, then we're just going to wind up with speed modules in there if the outputs from these didn't get removed first, but it looks like they did. So now we just have to sit here and wait. I guess I can stand in the center so that if any drones want to stop by for charging, they can do so. Alright, so that is all getting built up. And that should almost double our red circuit production. So obviously this was producing red circuits before, now it's producing way, way more. Oh, and we're gonna need all of this stuff to get upgraded as well, in order for the wire to get through fast enough. Because this, much like most things, uses an absurd amount of wire. Alright. My personal inventory is running very low on blue belts because of all that placement. And it also looks like something went wrong here. Yeah, these are outputting to the wrong thing. Alright, I thought I'd fixed this on the other one. I guess I'd only fixed it on some of the rows, and this wasn't one of them. Alright, so you lose that. You get an output there and an input there. You get an output there and an input there. Output and input. Output and input. Output and input. Output and input. Alright, so that's that row set up properly. And was that the only one that was wrong? I think that might be the only one which was messed up. Alright, now we have to just drain some of the incorrect stuff off of that belt. And we should be good. There's technically a little bit left. I guess I'll grab it just so that the belt is completely clean. And now it is just a question of getting this copper wire fixed. So you need to go down there, then turn around this way, and then go in there. So that way we have copper wire heading to all of this stuff, and we have enough to get mostly full belts going in. And now we need to make sure that this uses both sides of the belt evenly, which I think we can do with just one of these. So if we just go like that, and then you just go like that, I think that works to make sure that whatever is happening with the inputs, the outputs are going to be even, which should mean that it drains the inputs evenly as well. And that was just a problem for those because the wire is doing weird stuff like this. And now it isn't doing weird stuff like that. Alright, the green circuits are making it through the whole system, so that's good. Alright, red circuit production is now looking a lot stronger than it was. Down here, we are still quite desperate. But it is hanging on by a thread. Mostly because this doesn't need all that much red circuits. But if we want to make these... If we want to make these go faster to provide a non-painfully slow quantity of blue circuits, we would need even more red circuits. Which I really don't want to do. I'd really rather have these blue circuit numbers work. We're going to have to figure out the math on how much science we want. Because currently I think we need more of this. But yeah, we're just going to have to do the math. And speaking of science, we are, I believe, just placing one square away from having all the types of science automated in the new factory as opposed to the painfully slow automation of the old factory. Also, is that a traffic jam down here? I see a train that is stuck in the intersection. Alright, it got through, but it really shouldn't be doing that. So yeah, you and you are meant to be chain signals. So that hopefully will prevent some stuff. Get those as well. Alright, this is all going fine. Stone production continues to be abysmal. We're going to need to fix that. Alright, so this down here is our painfully bad stone production. And it's basically dead. It's basically 100% dead. How much stone is left in this? 300k. I don't know. I guess these couple machines just didn't get used much for whatever reason. Alright, can I actually fit a beacon just like in here? Not quite. Man, that would have been cool. Alright, these... Yeah, so this is going to take ages for these to finish, and they're just sort of embarrassingly bad in the short term. So I think we're going to move on from that already. And we've got stone up here, which is right by the factory. We also probably have stone down in this area somewhere, because we have everything down in this area. Yeah, there's some there's some there. And then there's some down here, although that would require expanding the pollution cloud out a lot. Let's see if we can just like grab that stone up here conveniently without having to do all sorts of extra work to reorganize things. That would be the most convenient. It's a bit close, but hopefully... Okay, we're gonna have to do some weird stuff, but I think this should work. I think we should be able to grab this. So we just have to go back to, like, there. And have you go out the smallest bit possible. And then across. And then we do the same thing on this side. So we go back to, like, here. We go out the smallest bit possible. And then across. Alright, so now we have space for a station. We're going to deconstruct all of that. And then reconnect power over to that one so that those lasers still function. Oh, apparently that power line was fake. There we go. Problem solved. Someone will get those in. We're not being attacked from this side anyway that much, so it should be fine. Now we just need to... Oh wait, do we not... We have these automated. I think I just don't bring them to my personal inventory ever. So there we go. This is going to be stone. Actually, can we just make sure that it's correct? Stone output. So then we have a train loader, and we are going to be covering up a bit of the stone patch doing this, but that's fine. It's a pretty big patch. So that all goes in. We get that. I suppose we need to bring this up. And the correct spot would be like there-ish. Alright, so now we have that in the area. Now we can start just spamming some mining drills. Alright, I don't know why I did it that way, but it doesn't really matter. Then these are all just going to go as compact as possible so that we can get the stone as quickly as possible. And we just need to barely squeeze this in around all the other stuff in the area. Oh, that one went too close. Right, so we got that one, and we don't need that much stone, honestly. Just this last row should be enough, and then we can get this last bit just to say that we did, although now we're out of mining drills, so I guess we won't. Alright, so now we just need to get all of these rows set up. So that's a row, that's a row. I just realized we need to get power to all of these, which this is not going to do very well. This is why I normally use blueprints for this. Alright, how do we get power in here? We have, like, substations, which might be able to get a lot of coverage. So let's try using those and get them powered up. So yeah, I mean, that's a whole lot of stuff covered there. Then we can get one there and one there, and I think that actually manages it. Shout out to substations for being real cool. Alright, so then this goes up, and this goes up. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 uneven belts, which I would really like to get down to 4 even belts, but it's probably not going to happen. So let's just get all of this in, I guess, like that, and in like that, so that we can use both sides of the belt. And then these two can merge up into this, so they go into one belt. Alright, we don't need that one. Alright, let's see. Actually, can we manage this like this? This is not going to be perfectly balanced, but if it's close enough, then it's close enough, I guess. So this one goes down, and then we need to be very compact on our belt here, so that goes that way. This one then goes down like this, and in there. We're going to have to do some messing around with the train loader blueprint in order to get it to all line up properly, because otherwise we'd have to do that. And then this one this one comes down there and can just shortcut in to that by taking that one out. Alright, now, how well balanced are these belts? Let's make sure to get all those belts upgraded as well from the blueprint. Alright. I mean, they don't look terribly unbalanced, at least. Let's see here. Is this balanced? Yeah, it's probably good enough. Doesn't have to be an exact science. I just then want these to be able to accept as much stone as possible. And then hopefully when a stone arrives, when a stone train needs some stone, it'll come over here instead of over there. So let's, and even this, it's not all that much stone, honestly. I mean, it's going fast, though. Alright, so here is our electric motors, and they are missing stone bricks. So yeah, we just fixed that, hopefully. Although, in order to complete the fix, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to come down there to the other stone patch and just tear it apart, because it's just going to be confusing for trains that are going to stop there and not get anything. So, off you go. We don't need you anymore. And we can also then just deconstruct all of that and reclaim some resources, but more importantly, reclaim these two just like perfectly convenient train squares right in the middle of the factory, which I otherwise can't use. Oh, and we can even get rid of this entire... Yeah, so this entire thing has to go, because it was only a temporary thing to support that. So now that annoying little thing is gone. We might have broken something by disconnecting power. I'd better get that back in at least so that the drones can function. And then we can take all of that out, which is going to pick up a marginal amount of stone. And there we go. So we need to continue getting rid of this railway. And then get rid of this railway. And we're going to chop down a whole bunch of trees in the process, which is totally fine. There we go. And now we can get rid of this and probably solve other weird little problems. There. So now we can, well, we can at least put a train square in this one. This one's got the setup over here for space stuff, so I think we might need to just keep this as is and get it repowered. But we can now put a square over here. And let's do that. And then we can call it, what is this, purple science that we've been getting constantly stalled out while trying to get around to producing. So we can make purple science here. And then we'll have each type of science being produced in the new factory. And then, once we have that, we can then start worrying about how much of each we want. Alright, a train is now stuck. Why are you stuck? Where are you going? You're meant to be going to lubricant, but somehow... Okay, it's done this thing again. I don't know why trains are like this. You go like that, you go like that, you go like that. So once all those things get built, that train should find its path forwards. And is there anything else that isn't connected up properly? No, the rest of the corners look correct. Alright, so now we're here, and our personal inventory is pretty good, except for all this extra junk, which the drones are removing. This square is just about done, except for that one curved rail off in the corner. Alright, trash slots are cleared out too now. So now it is just missing the 4 medium power poles, which I don't really care about. So this is going to be production science, so we need rail, electric furnace, productivity modules. So you are going to be... I can't imagine we have rail input already. No, we don't. So you are going to be rail input. And set you to a train limit of 1. Oh wait, I need to put... I always forget that I need to put this in first because it... At least the way I have it set up, it overwrites the name. So you are rail input. Spell input correctly. There we go. Then down here we have... Make sure to put this in first. Like that. And then you get to be... I assume we don't have electric furnace input. Electric furnace input. Select. Done. And then we go over here. And this is productivity module 1 input. So this is T1 productivity module input. Alright, so those are all set up. The train, which was parking here to be out of the way, is now going to leave because it's no longer out of the way to be here. Now we need to set up the trains that will go get this stuff. So you get a train, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so you are going to be assigned to group rail. And so you get rail input and rail output and the test interrupt, which works perfectly, so I never had to change it. So you go to the input until empty cargo, you go to the output until full cargo, or 120 seconds. And that's that. Off you go. Now we just have to do basically that same process for you. So you get to be the electric furnace group. And then you get to go to electric furnace input and electric furnace output. And you get the test interrupt. And you go to the input until you're empty, go to the output until you're full or 2 minutes has passed. And automatic mode. Off you go. Then we just scurry on over here and put in one more train. There you go. I never even put this in. Forgot again. So that goes in there. This is T1 productivity module input. There we go. And then you are T1 prod module. So you get sent on test, and you get that and that. This one isn't labeled correctly, but I know what it is. It's the output. So full cargo or 120 seconds. Empty cargo, automatic. So now we just need fuel to show up there. There we go. No, apparently not. Apparently it's not stopped in the station correctly. Alright, so we just need to re-grab that and throw it directly into the train. Alright, off you go. And you should be returning here any second now. Well, I say any second, it'll probably be 2 minutes. And you should return here with the stuff that we want to make. So now we get this. And these go up here. So just get a whole bunch of those guys in. Let the drones fill it all up. Alright, then we can go down here, make productivity science modules, copy paste that across. The rails have arrived. The electric furnaces shouldn't be too far behind. Productivity modules might be a bit of a delay, because I don't think we had enough time for them to produce a full train's worth. Yeah, here are the electric furnaces. And so now you are just waiting here. You are filled up with quite a lot of productivity modules, so that's nice. Alright, so then this just has to go in like that. And around and up there. We didn't quite get that lined up right, but that's fine. Not a big deal ultimately. And then we just send these into this, in case I ever want to use these via train, which I'm not sure that I will, but at very least we will have boxes full of them. There we go. So that's all set up. Once the productivity modules arrive in about a minute, then we will be producing these, and that will be the last type of science we need. And then we have to do some math to figure out how much of everything we want to even have. So I was thinking my end goal would be... This got disconnected again, hang on. I think that drone port needs to be connected. At the very least, it would be convenient for it to be connected. So my end goal is to have 2 of these running continually, which is obviously quite a lot. Now, how much science does that even make? Satellite. Does it say in the satellite? Alright, it does. So 1 satellite, which is 1 rocket, makes 1,000 space science. So we're going to have to actually do some math to figure out. So if 1 rocket is 1,000 space science, then this, which is 1 rocket part, is like a 20th of a rocket. I don't know. We're going to have to do some math. So if that's 0.18 rocket parts a second in theory, then 0.18 times 20. Can I get a arithmetic combinator to help me with this math? Power you on. So we have 18 times 20, not 29. Output to something is 360. So if we then just divide that back down, it's 3.6. Wait, what does that even mean? I was doing some math. Oh, wait, so it's 3.6 seconds to launch a rocket, theoretically, I think. Assuming that my math was right, and these are 5%, which I don't even know what it is. I don't know. We're going to have to figure that out. We'll figure that out later. We're not especially close to it for now. For now, we just need to get all the rest of the science warmed up and running. So this got its productivity modules, and now we have purple science output. So let's give that access to the drone network so that if The purple science wants to be used. Oh gosh, why is it? No, stop, stop, stop. Bad train. This needs to be relabeled purple science output. You need to not have any of that in you. Okay, and then you need to not be refilled. Can you just stop doing that real quick while I grab the rest of this? Alright, there we go. Okay, now we can set you off again, and you won't return here because now that has a specific name. We're fine. And we can just dump that into there, and we'll be good. So this theoretically uses an insane amount of rails. Fortunately, rails aren't like the most expensive thing in the world, but it might be an issue. Depending on how much we need. Okay, and I can productivity module these as well, which I think I'm going to do. Alright, apparently that's all the productivity modules I can hold. So we're going to go into map mode and finish them off like that. Alright, I don't know why that worked, but it did. Alright, and we are continually getting rail input, so that shouldn't be an issue. We've got plenty of those. We've got plenty of those. So yeah, I think that's just purple science done. And speaking of science production, it's currently relatively stable. And looks to be... It's actually not limited by anything. It's actually limited by the science labs. So that's cool. Can I just then get a whole bunch more of these in? We're going to need to craft them. We're going to need to craft the science labs. So let's do that. Where are you? Are you in this? Yes, you are. Let's craft up another 15 of them, I guess, because that's the number that I can currently. And then we're going to get down a passive provider chest. And of course we have to place it in the freaking woods, man. Get that tree out of the way. Okay, just get rid of all these stupid trees. Alright. Passive provider chest. Science labs. We needed 9 science labs. We have 9 science labs there. So those are just going to get yoinked up by drones and built down here. And then we just need to connect this along, which is gonna be a bit weird, but hopefully this will work. I actually don't know if that'll work, because that's going to be a belt. Yeah, no, I think we need to remove that and instead have a science lab. So if that science lab is in there, and then that goes into it, yeah, I think that should work. You get more of those. Okay, then all of these need to get powered. So let's Get that in real quick. So that's all in, and cool. So now we just need this science lab to get placed to see if that propagates the science across that whole chain. And if it does, that should like double-ish our science output, although now it looks like we have a blue science problem, which we can, I believe, fix pretty easily because we have blue science. So we just need, I closed the map. And just 1 second, back down here. Where were we? We were right over here. So this belt needs science on it. And you get to be blue science, like so. And we're going to have to wait for that to get built in to figure out what the logistics storage situation looks like. But all the rest of the science types have gotten sent into these new machines. So we just got to wait for that requester chest. And that should then start providing the blue science. And then from there, it'll just be a question of figuring out what we're short of and just compensating and expanding until it's all even. Alright, so we've got plenty of white science there. This is going to get delivered eventually. It might take a while, but when it does, we have good blue science stockpiles, right? We've got these all producing round the clock. And we've got a good solid 2,000 in each of these. Yeah, so that's plenty. Plenty of blue science built up. This should be good. And it's saying delivered 200. Let's have it just deliver a lot more. So that the higher the number is, the more drones fly at once, which means the more the overall throughput is. Which is not at all obvious, but it is true. So we just need to get all of those drones all the way down there. It's gonna be quite the trip. And let's set up something clever. So if we go here and we set up a buffer chest here. So this can just sit anywhere. So this buffer chest is going to want 3 stacks each of each type of science. And that should be a good sort of intermediate spot so that the science can make it down there conveniently without getting stuck. Okay, now the white science is stored in stacks of 1,000, so we're only gonna have 2,000 of that. And then that's alright. Completely deplete a resource patch. Which one, so that I can know that that's a thing that happened? Oh, it's probably this one, right? Yeah, I guess. Technically, there's that little bit up there. But this resource patch is totally cooked. Which means, I guess, we remove it. There's no need to have a stop there, since that doesn't provide anything of value anymore. Is there any other resource patches that we've completely dismantled? That uranium is going fine, that copper is going fine, that copper is going fine. Everything down there is okay. This iron ore patch is like weirdly doing fine still. I set that mine up like incredibly early and it's just still going. Okay. Are all of these drones doing science deliveries? Yeah, they're pretty much all doing science deliveries. Unsurprising. Alright, so if we then zoom in on the science, we've got plenty of blue science now. That is no longer an issue. And all of these are running, which means we have, at the moment at least, we have solid supplies of everything for this incredibly scuffed science setup. Which, I don't know if I'm going to keep this setup down here. I think it would make more sense to move the setup elsewhere so that we can just have them in a more consolidated, organized form. Yeah, let's do that actually. Let's just make a square for it. So if we go somewhere that has a square available, like here maybe. And I don't even know that this is going to be a train square because I think we're just going to use drones for it mostly. Actually, if we could fit it in this area. Yeah, we can actually just put the science down in here because it's right by this, which is where we brought all of the science anyways. Alright, yeah, let's just head down there, craft up another significant batch of science labs. Alright, so we're going to head down here. And now we're over here. We've got this nice space here. So first off, we need a lab with the 6 inputs going into it. So that can be just there, I guess. And as far as how the inputs make it, if we just do like that, all of those are accessible via the same thing. So if we just do that and then power it on like so. Alright, so we've got that. Now we need to branch this out so that we have our 3 belts, each with 2 inputs on them, which means we need a bit of extra space. So if we go something like that, and then you go like that, and then you can come down like this. Alright, so now we have that space. Now what we can do is we get our requester chests, which... Oh wait, this isn't actually enough. Oh wait, is it barely enough? I think this is technically barely enough. No, it's going to be more convenient to have more space. So you need to go down like that. And I guess for the sake of it being organized, we'll have it as straight as possible. And then you need to go down like that. Alright, so we have those. Then we get our requester chests, which can go there, and there, and there, and there. And let's expand that out a little bit. And then we need 2 more there and there. So this whole area needs drone connectivity. That's very important. So we can just get that in like there somehow. Not really a big deal. How exactly that happens... Alright, then we get these all pointing like that. And then we have this set up so that each one gets input to both sides. So now we just need power poles, like so. And you get red science. Only need to be a single stack. You get green science. Single stack. You get military science. Single stack. You get chemical science. One stack of those. You get production science. A stack of those. And you get utility science. A stack of those. And then apparently we do end up needing a fourth belt for the white science, so that's fine. We can just get you in just directly from a requester chest there for space science. One stack of you. Alright, so those are all queued up, and they should take from this buffer chest, theoretically, since that's the closest. Okay. I'm expecting to see a whole bunch of drones going from this buffer chest down 6 inches to that. Instead, they seem to be pulling them directly from the source, which I guess is fine. Lara, I am not interested in that at the moment. Sorry about that. So we are just going to wait for all the rest of this. And I guess we can wait a little bit for the buffers to build up. It's going to take a little bit of time. The blue and yellow science are still very much on the way. The other types of science have already mostly made it by this point. Alright, blue science is here, and it would have been very convenient if it had pulled from this buffer chest instead of going all the way across the planet, but I guess going all the way across the planet is fine too. Oh, did I need to like set request from buffer chests? Yes, I did. So you all get set to do that. Did I get all of you? Did I miss any? No, I didn't. Alright, so that should be all good. And we're just going to give them a few moments to get ahead, and then we are going to start working on the rest of this science. So we need so many labs in order for this to go quickly. So we get you, and then you go around like that. And those are all actually within power already, which is pretty convenient. So let's get this whole thing set up first. Okay, this one is apparently not powered. So, now let's copy these rows and place them there. And then you take from there. And you all get powered. And now, if we copy this, and just place it across. We should have a nice, convenient, tileable science setup. And I have to imagine that the inserters aren't going to be able to keep up with all of this. So let's see. Let's see how that works with a regular old fast inserter. We still need to get these last couple in. Alright, that row is in, and that row is in. And now it's going. I wonder if making these guys bulk inserters, I don't know if that'll speed it up any, but might as well try. Alright, so now they're all filling up. And they're filling up with all the different types. It's just sort of cascading through. Eventually, this should all turn on. And if it doesn't, then we should be able to just rework this so that it feeds from multiple spots. Alright, so we're going. Some of them are starting to turn on now. The first row in particular. Which means that it won't be too long before we see how much we can keep up with at maximum. Alright, now all of the rows are starting to turn on. And the whole thing is going. And it seems fine. It seems like the overall throughput is not an issue. Alright, let's craft up another batch of 15 of these guys then. And yeah, so research has spiked a lot because of that. And we can get it going even faster with this new batch. So how many rows is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is 8 rows of 4. So, just trying to figure out how much more I can add on to this. But it should be a lot. Okay, no, this is not going to be running continually. Although, it's also not using the loaders continually, which is interesting. Alright, so how do I fix that? What I need is I need to be able to load all of these belts on just independently, I guess, and have them somehow snake across. So we have 7 types of science. If we... Let's see, how does this work? Because if we run these across the top row... So yeah, what it looks like is that they have spikes where they're all running, and then spikes where they're not. Just because it takes a while. Now, if we just get more rows of these in, then in effect what that'll do is it'll put more of a load on the inserters more of the time, which should hopefully increase overall science production. Although I think we're still going to have these sort of awkward wave patterns. Alright, let's try and figure out how to fix that. So currently these are all just loading into one. Okay, but wait, if we only have one bulk inserter there, then if you go down as 3 bulk inserters, like this, then that will be much faster. Which might help. And let's see, these seem to be working. Oh, I didn't upgrade this one. So you're still the limiting factor there. Alright, so now we have 3 bulk inserters worth loading this entire system. Which is a lot faster. And it looks like these guys might want to have bulk inserters on them as well. Don't face that way. Face the correct way. Alright, so now red science, it looks like these can also be bulk inserters. So let's get those in. Oh, inventory is full. What do I have in my inventory that I don't need? I have... Let's see, I have explosive cannon shells and regular cannon shells. I don't need those. We can toss those out. I've got all this uranium. I can get rid of all this. Let's see here. What else is there? I've got these constant combinators. It's been like a million years since I've used anything other than arithmetic. So we can keep the arithmetic because I still use those pretty frequently, but I don't need the other ones. I don't need 4 explosives. Alright, that should be fine then. And now it looks like this is doing better. It's hard to say. Hard to say indeed. And it also seems pretty likely that this is all like running on fumes and we don't actually have this much production of all of these. But I don't know what's going to give up first, so that's why we've got this all set up. Alright, now that this is going, it does look like it's more or less stable. Like, if we just look at this one down here and wait for it to stop working. So how long does this take in between batches? It's basically instant. So yeah, it looks like we have all of these running mostly continually. I mean, there are definitely interruptions, but it seems to be doing the job. And our artillery shell range is getting researched real fast as a result. Alright, so how... So these aren't, like, getting crazy usage. Like, they're not running 100% of the time. So I could help speed things up a little bit if I needed to, but I don't think I need to, really. I think this is basically set. So if that's the case, I guess we're just gonna explore the limits of how much we can manage with this setup. So let's add more science. And eventually we'll run out of a science pack, and then that will be the deciding factor. And all this hyper-fast loading won't need to be done. But for now, burning through supplies that we have. And Artillery Shell Range 2 is about to be unlocked. And we might have some problems when that happens, because I'm not 100% certain that the increased range won't result in complete destruction of, like, the retaliation attacks. Alright, so let's check, make sure all these guys have buffers. You have buffer chests with plenty of stuff. And how much artillery shells do I have in logistic storage? 164. Okay, that probably isn't enough, is it? I didn't copy that correctly. We need to get starting with the row of inserters. Alright, so then that goes in. We are a couple short. So let's finish those off. Alright, and let's take energy weapons damage next. Because if these biter attacks are anything like the last ones, we're gonna need more energy weapon damage. Alright, so that's all going in. And the last couple ones are being crafted, and done. So now that's running, and sure enough, we're being attacked basically instantly. Did that cannon actually shoot anything, or is that just a coincidence? I think that was just a coincidence. Okay, so does this have a buffer chest? No, it doesn't. Does anything in this vicinity have a buffer chest? I don't think so. Alright, so this is a good, somewhat central spot for it. Let's actually find somewhere that does have one. Like, I think I put one down here. Where are you? Yeah, you two. So let's copy those and start pasting them in various other places that need the help. Like there. And those should be set to request from buffer chests, probably. It's probably fine as is. I don't know. So yeah, now we're getting hit super hard from all angles. Hopefully the energy weapons damage will help. Alright, so yeah, we just need all of you to be requesting from buffer chests so that we can fire our artillery shells as fast as possible to wipe out the biters as fast as possible. And also, I should probably... Oh, hang on. We have a bit of a traffic jam over here. That's because of you. And, alright, you can't go forwards. Alright, we need to get up there and fix that. And then hope that we don't have more such traffic jams until the biter invasion is ended, which is a bit optimistic. Because I really should be taking the Spidertron out to like various areas that are in danger. And I should also be setting up additional Spidertrons to be able to distribute around. Alright, so you are going to get just like a good ways over here. And then off you go. That should unstick that. So we have another cause of problems up here. You were able to get through because of that. But that is now all going to be sorted out. And, gosh, energy weapons damage is researching so fast. Like, it'll be done pretty soon. Alright, so now we're in the Spidertron. And let's first run up to where our Spidertron production area is. Because I need to get a couple more of these guys set up. Alright, so now we're here. Take you and place you. New tip, copy-paste Spidertron. We'll copy the color and logistics requests, but also try to copy the equipment grid. Alright, that's handy. So you get that, and then we need portable fission reactor, 2 laser defenses, and an energy shield. Alright, let's just get those crafting then. And hopefully... I should have been doing this preemptively. This is going to be slow. So your equipment grid remains empty for some reason. You are getting that stuff in. Do I even have... It looks like I do have a full set of the equipment other than the laser defenses and shields. So we're just going to have to sit here and craft that. Energy weapons damage is increased. Can we get energy weapon range? Is that a thing? No, it doesn't look like it. So let's take even more energy weapons damage. Because we've got to hold those biters back. Alright, let's get in the Spidertron and see how are things going up here. You're out of ammo, unsurprisingly. And you did get a shot there. Alright, you're out of ammo, but I think you... No, you are turning to shoot probably over here. And of course there's a giant wave getting built up there as well. So, how is this going? You are almost done. We just have to finish crafting the laser defenses. And then the copy-paste should just work. Alright, so you are now all set up. And also, I think I want you to be set up for restocking bases. So I want you to have 50 of those, 100 of those, 100 repair packs, and I guess it can have 50 electrical poles. And the reason for this is so that we can send Spidertrons to like sort of frontline areas and then have them just sit there at the base and support it, keep it healing faster, get all that stuff done. Alright, so you are receiving supplies still, but I think we'd better run out to up here because this place is getting hit and I'd like to be there just in case. So we should be safe enough sitting here inside of this. And then... Actually, I shouldn't be doing this with my personal Spidertron. I can send the remote-controlled Spidertron... Okay, what are these guys doing? I think most of that damage was from my own rocket. Whatever. So we can control Spidertrons here. So we left click and drag to select Spidertrons. Shift left click to add to selected side. Right click to send Spidertrons. So we can grab you, send you up there. Gosh, you're speedy, aren't you? Alright, so you should be able to just camp up there and support that area. Can you scooch just a little bit back? Yeah, those missiles should... With those missiles, you shouldn't be an issue. Then we need to... It's so far down. Can we just set up other Spidertron to go down there? Alright, so we grab you, place you in, and try to copy paste, but fail. At least it'll start loading up. Then the equipment it needs is a whole bunch of stuff. Belt immunity equipment, it's going to need energy shields, it's going to need those. And it's going to need an exoskeleton and a roboport, which we're going to need batteries and electric engine units for. So let's just run over here and grab them. Yeah, we're getting hit pretty hard down there. It'd be ideal if I had this already set up, but I don't. Also, our electric engines isn't working super great. Unfortunate. Neither are batteries, but at least we can grab some. So we can get that set up. We go over here to the batteries, to this section. Getting all sorts of stuff delivered now. Alright, so we need to just like stand here and yoink some of these. Like so. And then we can craft up an exoskeleton with that. And then we can scurry back on over here. And alright, all that stuff hasn't been crafted yet. But once it does, we will be... I think we have everything queued except for maybe the second laser port. And actually, before we do the laser ports, let's get some of the... What are those things called? The high density or low density structures or whatever. Where are they? Which one of these are they? They're one of the ones that's almost completely full. It might be this one directly south of me. No, that's iron. Here they are. Alright, so give me just 50 of those. And dequeue those two. Requeue them. And now we run back up. And by the time we get up there, we should be done with all of this crafting. And we should have another Spidertron available to do all the stuff that I need to do. Which is mostly defensive-oriented stuff. In the future, I would like to give them just, like, equipment so that I can just craft remotely off of them. Alright, so now you're all set up. So let's get you. And you need to head, like, all the way down to here, probably. You're going to be going quite a bit of a journey. Okay, and it's a good thing I sent you because we're gonna need help. Specifically at this artillery setup, which is unsurprisingly not quite up to the task of keeping itself safe. Oh, did I set these to also have their own... Yes, I did set them to have their own robots and repair packs and everything. So they should be able to hold out there with its help. This one up here is holding out fine. Alright, so then we just need this guy to make it all the way down there. Bro is making the trip of a lifetime. I don't know if he's going to get stuck trying to cross the water. Yeah, okay. So he is going to need to be given more specific instructions. Alright, you go around the water. And then down to there. And then the attacks are mostly happening over this way. So that's where we'll ultimately send him. And yeah, it looks like that area is still under pretty constant attack. So I think he's going to be a bit late to help with this wave. But hopefully he'll be in time to clean up. Alright, yeah, here he comes. Alright, so that is all going to get repaired nice and quick. And you can stand a little bit close to the back. Alright, most of the attacks are coming in that corner. So with him in the location, we should be secure. Alright, you can request from buffer chests, and that should... Pretty sure we've got buffer chests like... over here somewhere. Alright, that's just a bunch of random stuff. Our energy weapon damage is higher than ever. And let's get explosives up now that we have them. So with that guy supporting that, we should be secure there. We should also be secure in the far north. And with you pulling from buffer chests, we should theoretically be firing shells a lot quicker. Although it doesn't look like any of those are actually being taken. Alright. I guess you're just going to be chipping away one shot at a time. Which is not the ideal way of going about things. But we are getting through slowly but surely. And the drones are ultimately grabbing from here to bring down there. So that is functioning properly. And this whole area should then be mostly secure. You don't have anything to fire at. That's good. You're doing fine. Okay, we are getting hit down here. Okay. Spidertron, new plan. You can stand out here ahead of it. Alright, so that was something of a catastrophe. Now, fortunately, he is here to do that. Now, I think we just have to set you off auto-targeting, maybe? Okay, wait. Yeah. This just doesn't work at all. So I think we need to either have you here to support or to shoot, but not both. Alright, I think we just use you as a supply hub for now, and if things go wrong, we can have you fire. And then we're going to need to go up north to this guy and also give it similar. Alright, stronger explosives unlocked. Let's see here. What else is there? Worker robot speed is always a nice thing to have. Alright, so that is all set up. It's a bit annoying that this guy can't just like meaningfully help, but he's destroyed the artillery setup and the drone setup. So now we have to wait for all that stuff to get rebuilt. It's all your fault. And now you're out of drone range because you took out the roboport. Alright, so if we want these guys to help, I guess the way of doing it would be maybe the physical non-explosive rockets would be beneficial there. Alright, drone coverage is back, and the gun is not. Although it might be getting delivered soon, because it's been a little bit. Let's have you actually just like... Where are we even attacking? Can we just like have you go exploring somewhere or something? Alright, the shells are back. The gun isn't. The gun probably has to be kept far away. I don't think I ever put that in a buffer chest or anything. Alright, then we are getting hit up here. And they were able to manage fine. They are pretty far away from everything though, so we might want to send a Spidertron over there. But I do think I gave a buffer chest here, right? Yeah, so you have buffer chests. So you should be relatively quick to restore. So that should be fine. Alright, but I think this is a pretty good stopping point. I mean, we've figured out that sadly the Spidertrons aren't super great at supporting our own defenses, because they have a bit of a tendency to friendly fire. But aside from that, it seems to be doing fine. They are pretty good at just standing here and giving resupplies, which is pretty important. So yeah, here goes the attack. Spidertron is keeping things together. And I think, though, what might be a better idea for the Spidertrons long term is to hold them back in reserve, like there or something, so that if an attack hits somewhere unexpected, we can send a Spidertron to plug the gap. The other alternative is there are the personal laser defenses, which aren't incredible. How much damage are they actually? 47 laser damage and 4.8 shooting speed, 15 range, compared to one of these, which is same shooting speed, better range, better damage. Alright, so basically we could just like have them be extra laser turrets with those. There's also other military stuff that we haven't used though. There's discharge defense, for example, which we might mess around with some of those for our Spidertrons. Let's just see what that's like. It's shorter range, slower shooting speed, but I don't know. Could potentially be good for support. Anyways, we finished worker robot speed. Let's see if we can get them even faster. Because the faster the robot speeds, the better. And I think we're stable. I mean, that hasn't been hit much. We haven't been hit much from up here, although we have some. Let's actually... Because I don't know if our radar is good enough here. Let's send the Spidertron on a scouting expedition. So that's not real. Just kind of poke around, see if there's anything around here that we should know about. Doesn't look like there is. There are those. So the gun doesn't have anything to shoot at over in this direction, at least. It looks like the gun is inactive. Yeah, so we're fine there. We shouldn't really need that Spidertron keeping an eye out over there. And I think in general, the danger from the attack has passed, except for maybe in the south. So if we just look down here... Now even this one still has a stockpile of ammo, but nothing to shoot at. So I think we're clear. I think we are clear, and at this point the range should be good enough that there's not going to be many biter nests, which are both in our pollution cloud and not in artillery range, to just get wiped out. Maybe these ones that are like on the opposite side of water, but even then, who knows. Regardless, we made good progress today. We have all of our science production going, and it looks like we have dropped off, which is a sign that it's now being limited by one of the science types, probably. Yes, we're being limited by white science now. So that's a good sign, because it means that we can just improve our white science with more rocket launches, and then be good to go to just blast through more researches. But more importantly, once I have science production stable at what did I say, two full rocket silos, then I'll be done with this game, and then we can start from scratch with everything that I've learned and hopefully make fewer mistakes next time. But yeah, we are very close. So now we just have more rocket silo stuff to do, and then we can start a new playthrough. So, thanks everyone for hanging out. I had a lot of fun today. I will be back in Satisfactory tomorrow, so if you're interested in that, make sure to stop by then. Otherwise, I will be doing Factorio on Thursday as usual from 2 to 5 Eastern Time. I stream every weekday, alternating between various factory building games. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks everyone for hanging out. I will see you guys next time. Make sure to follow if you haven't already. Bye.